Hello, Mark McClure here from Manufacturing Hacks, and we are currently doing a exclusively Excel import to MISys Manufacturing, and we're utilizing hardware for the items, and pull this up from the current slide. I had filmed this a little earlier and I ran into a problem. So I've already formatted this Excel sheet. So over here on the left, we're exploring the exclusive Excel MISys import. And one was the data in the Excel sheet manually entered or exported from another data source. So I had another data source. I imported these hardware items. They were already formatted beyond 24 characters. 24 characters is the max for item ID. 60 characters for description. The way you find out, that's one of the drawbacks of Excel, is the fields imported to MISys are not pre-formatted in Excel like Access is. And so say for instance, I just put this formula in to count the characters for item ID, and just character count, and say for instance if I just put a bunch of characters in there, it went over 24 to 27, and that would be unacceptable to import through MISys. And I also went into MISys. Let me open MISys. I went into MISys and chose one of the items that fit best for nuts, because we're putting hardware nuts in, and I saw the 3/8. Let me get this. I saw the 3/8 one that was already in here, and so instead of changing the part number, instead of adding another item, I just changed the part number in MISys to reflect our new naming convention. The new name, this is a Manufacturing Hacks naming convention where it's an intelligent part numbering system that aligns alphabetically, and you can easily tell without the description field what it is. So this is a nut, it's steel, it's grade 5, J995, hex, 3/8 by 16 thread, zinc coated. And I've named all the different hardware that way. They will be available for download if you would like. Depending on your naming convention, we can customize that to suit your needs. So I changed this part number by going into administration and going into housekeeping, and I changed the item number. It was a I-19, I believe, and I switched it to that item, which is in that other window, the master item field that we looked at. It was, when I searched for the nuts, there it is right there, changed. Now back to Let me switch sides here. And back to this, I did the character count, and you'll need to do the descriptions yourself, the extended description. So I just copied this over to the extended description. I filled in the reference. Again, you have to do one and then drag it down to copy over to bring it down. So I don't know what the pick is going to be. You would know. I left the unit of measure each. Sometimes I like to switch up the unit of measure. Let's say all those. Let's go. I like to do that. And I'm just going to pull this item up. Put it over there. So we're looking at the item, and so I just changed that field right there, the purchase order unit of measure to 1,000. So if it's 1,000 per bag, that your unit of conversion is there. And so we had to fill all these in. And I don't know the cycle count for any of the other ones. That's 8. And the lead time is 7. I think we go down to 19. So I'm going to drag this down to 19. We'll say they all get 7. I don't know the minimum level. I'm just going to go ahead and leave it blank. So all these, the type, it's a 0. So you may be asking, what is all this? So to find out what they are, you can go to Administration and print data tables in the housekeeping, print data tables, and choose which one you're working with that you want to know, item, and go ahead and print it. And for instance, we're looking at type, item type. There's the type, that's the actual header title. And 0 is raw material, 1 resource, 2 assembled. So mostly you'll use raw materials and assembled. So 0 and 2. Right now, all these are just a 0. It's raw materials for me. And so this one can be dragged down to 19. And track, we're okay with that. Now the minimum level, I'm going to go ahead and leave the minimum level. And we have variance can stay 0. I'm not going to mess with the last cost, standard cost, average cost, landed cost. Location ID, we're not filling in that table. That's the preferred supplier here for manufacturer. Lot is just a 0. And I just know these from just working with these for hours and hours and hours. And so before you came back, before we lost the other video, I changed these. So these are the activity monitors. They're important to us because they show used, built, and received activity. Otherwise, you have to find another means to figure out how much you're using and how much you're building and how much you're receiving. So the status means on or off. So 2 is on. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this top one on, and I'm going to 1, the first monitor, 1 equals used. So it's going to track the used. I'm going to turn this one on. The second monitor is on, and it's going to track built. And then the third monitor we're going to turn on, and then it's going to track received. And these are 0 right now. That's fine. This is 0 right now. That's fine. Status. Let's see what the status is. Status. Status. Next page. Okay. Status. So 0 is active, 1 inactive, 2 engineering. Make sure that's right. So that's right. All these can be drawn down the same. They're active. Now, last use date, since we changed the item ID on this top one, I'm not gonna change these dates, but I did add today's date to that next one for the start date. Start date. So these are going to be actually the same, because I just turned on that monitor on the last ones that we just did. This is going to be empty. Empty. It's going to be started. And okay, and that's the total quantity, so I definitely can't change that. But these zeros can be drawn down. And these ones can be drawn down. Some of these, whatever we miss, is going to be fine going in. So, for the things that you didn't see and for the things that you saw, this is kind of a long process using Excel. And still, even then, because I pre-formatted, say for instance, the item ID, I'm ensured that all these are within the character range. So this one, I'm going to go ahead and rename this. And so the only thing that I'm changing here is putting 3/8. And the rest is the same, or well, the pitch, 16, 3/8 by 16. So the rest is the same. That's what's nice about the naming convention. Now, I'm going to leave the reference because that was the original formatting. And I believe that's all she wrote as far as the formatting. So in Access, it would be significantly faster because all these fields would be formatted. And if you tried to enter something that's over 60 characters in the short description or over 24, it wouldn't allow that. Or if you added duplicates, we could try that, but I assure you that it will allow you to put in duplicates. And so we're ready. I saved that document, and I will go to MISys. I'm going to put the screen on the other side and enlarge it. You go to Master Files, and you go to Items. And so I could do it over here too, which is fine. I have two ways to do it. I can go File, Import, Items, and go to the Excel sheet, or I could go to this one, which I will do, Import. And so if you're doing bill of materials, it would go on the bill of materials. This one goes through the items. And I'm importing an Excel sheet. However, am I importing what kind of? Well, yeah, I'm importing this format. So go find it. And it's on my desktop. And choose it. Go ahead and proceed. It's going to read the data, and I didn't do any of this other export. And we'll scroll through the data here. I have all the fields, so if you just tried to do item and description like we have it in the format, all these would be in red, and you could accept the default setting, but it wouldn't give you very much information. And you would have to go back and manually enter or do another edit through Access or SQL or something. So it's all set. I'll go OK and imported successfully, and we will refresh here. And it went up to 2,948. And then, so this one, see the purchase unit, let's refresh this. And so it changed to 1,000 per bag, and changed some other things. It changed the description. And that's it. We imported, I don't know how many we did, but it took quite a long time. Please go to the next slide and watch the next video and see how much faster Access is for this same process. And stay tuned for more manufacturing hacks. This is Mark McClure, Manufacturing Hacks. Thank you.